In this lesson, we'll continue building our Hellcats logo. Okay, so in the last lesson, we began using our Pathfinder and Shape Builder tool to build this logo for the Hellcats. Now, we created not only this knockout here for this flame area, and this eye here and one of the highlights, but we also created this shape here that's kind of following the contours of that negative space, so this orange shape for the flames. Now, in between lessons, I went in and drew in another flame shape, sort of to highlight this cheek area right here. I did that in the exact same fashion as we did in the previous lesson, but, you know, right now I want to go ahead and shift our attention over here to the creature's mouth. So if we come over here and hide this layer and check out our sketch layer, you can see here that what we got going for the mouth, I'm not really too happy with it. And what I'd like to do is maybe create a shape to really accentuate the fierceness of this creature's mouth. So let's go ahead and do that back up here on our vectors layer here. And I tell you what, the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and hit my tab key to give us a little bit more screen real estate to look at this shape, or this logo. And let's go ahead and switch to our selection tool, our direct selection rather, hitting the A keyboard shortcut, and then switch to our pen tool. So we're ready to draw. Now, at this point, I'm thinking about creating just the shape of this creature's mouth here. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to begin this shape maybe up here just above this fang, continue it down, and maybe bring it in here sort of like so. So I tell you what, looking at our color panel, let's go ahead and we're going to be drawing in white. So let's go ahead and switch that over to this orange color really fast. We'll go ahead and select that color there. Switch back to our pen tool after we switch to our direct selection tool, and we'll go ahead and begin drawing. I'm going to start this path right here at the anchor point that creates this corner right here, and we're going to begin just drawing this sort of like so. I'm going to drop in another anchor point. Let's put it right about here. And let's go ahead and draw the next one in. Let's pull it in right down here somewhere, maybe right about here. Now, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pull out this Bezier handle quite a bit more to really create that arch right here in his mouth. So, you know, I may come in here and tweak that up a little bit in between lessons, but for right now, I think that's pretty good. So, coming in here, let's go ahead and bend this Bezier handle, holding down Control to switch to our direct selection tool. And while we hold down Control, let's hit Alt, and then we'll be able to bend that handle, just like so. Now we should be able to continue drawing this path just by pulling out another anchor point here. So I want to come in here and drop another anchor point. Let's pull it in right about here. And I'm going to go ahead and take this shape out. Let's get a little crazy here. Let's go ahead and take this up here just like so. And let's go ahead and bring this right there at the tip of his fang. This is going to be kind of crazy, but I tell you what, in order to see this, let's switch back into outline mode by hitting Control Y. And let's go ahead and bring back our sketch so we can kind of look at what we're got going on here. What I think I'm going to do is take this new shape here that I've created and use it as sort of a reverse highlight. Typically the inside of this creature's mouth would be in shadow, but in order to keep this with a minimal amount of colors, maybe we use this orange color to create this shape. So that's what I think I'm going to go ahead and do. Let's go ahead and hide that sketch again, just like so, and switch out of outline mode. Now, we need to close this shape. That's the first thing we need to do. So in order to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and bring in some anchor points right here and then click on that first anchor point. Now, obviously this shape right here is not the shape we want. If we send that to the back with a Control-Shift open bracket, you can see here that we're going to need to basically trim this shape off by everything that's not covering a red area here. So, you know, I mentioned in a previous lesson that the intersect shape mode in the Pathfinder panel is one of my favorite tools, and this is a great example of how we can use that. Let me go ahead and bring that shape back to the front here with a Control-Shift close bracket, and let's go ahead and select our red shape here. I'm going to go ahead and copy that with a Control-C. Now, if you remember what the intersect shape mode does is it leaves us with only the area that the two shapes overlap, which is exactly the area that I want here. So now that I've copied that shape, we're going to go in and select both these two shapes here. And, you know, this is something that I don't mind doing a destructive shape mode change here. I don't need this to be non-destructive because I want this stuff inside his mouth that's kind of in this area right here. I want that gone. So let's go ahead and intersect that. You can see it's left us with just the area that was overlapping between the two shapes. And now I'm going to come in and do an edit. And I tell you what, let's do this paste in front, Control F. I use that paste in front quite a bit because that's going to paste this shape right back in the same spot we got it. So let's go ahead and send that to the back now. And you can see what we're left with here. Now at this point I may come in and tweak this up just a little bit. really kind of adjusting these curves, come in and tweaking these Bezier handles around just a little bit. Maybe this one over here could be tweaked. I know it's kind of hard to see because I've got the layer set to red. We can always switch that coming over to the layer panel and double clicking on that vector layer. Let's switch this over to something like cyan. Now those paths are a little bit easier for you to see. Let's go ahead and pull this one down just a little bit here. Pull that one up and just kind of create sort of this S-curve right here. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So now we've got a little bit of a problem up here around this top fang. I want to come in here and zoom in on that, and what we need to do, we talked about creating a reverse shadow effect here, and we did that down here on this fang right here, but 3 of our fangs, we don't have that. So I tell you what, how could we do that? Well, we could do that again with our intersect tool. Let me go ahead and select this shape right here. And now we've got that darker red loaded into our fill color, and I'm just going to begin drawing in these shapes. So I'm going to come in and drop an anchor point right here. Don't really care where this anchor point is. I am going to bend that handle just like so, and I'm going to take this out right here at the tip of the fang. And we're going to bend that around. Don't really care where that anchor point is, and we're going to reconnect that path just like so. Now, remember, we just used the intersect tool a moment ago when we were creating this shape on the inside of his mouth. We can do the exact same thing in creating this area for the outside shadow, or this darker area on the outside of his tooth. Now I may come in here and just tweak that up just a little bit, just like so. You can always switch into outline mode and take a look at exactly how much of that tooth is being revealed, and you know, maybe we do want that to be a little closer over here. I won't spend too much time tweaking these Bezier handles, but that's stuff we can do in between lessons. You can see here that I'm just trying to get that shape to be pretty much the exact same as this shape right here. So switching out of outline mode, let's come in and copy this orange shape. Let's go ahead and select both of these 2 shapes and use our intersect on those again. Again, I don't care that it's destructive. And we're left with this shape right here, which is what we want. So we'll hit a Control F, send that to the back, and bring it forward one time by hitting Control and then close bracket, and now we've got this shape on top of the orange shape, creating exactly the effect that we were looking for. It's pretty neat, huh? Hopefully you're starting to see why that intersect shape mode is one of my favorites. Now, there's a couple other teeth here. We can do those in between lessons. I'm going to do those in the exact same way that I did that one right there. But what I'd like to do now is, we've got this shape right here. Now, we've got this area right here, which I kind of intended to be the creature's tongue. Now, how could we create the illusion that there's a tongue right here? Well, we could do a dark red tongue on top of this big orange shape, but you know, this big orange shape is actually kind of distracting right now, I'm starting to think. So let's just zoom in on that here. And maybe what we could do is create a darker shape above and below the tongue, to creating the illusion that the tongue is orange in itself. And then we can leave a nice orange wedge right here in between that darker red shape and this red shape. So that may, I tell you what, that may not be real clear right now, but let's just jump into it and I'll show you what I mean. Probably the easiest way to begin doing this would be just to go ahead and grab our pen tool again here. And let's just go ahead and lay down our first anchor point right about here. And I'm just going to do my best to kind of follow the contour of this shape right here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that into this path right about there. Now these are 2 separate shapes we're drawing here. Keep that in mind. We're not having to worry about combining these shapes. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I want to go ahead and bring this down to about where I want that tongue to be. Now I may come in here and shorten this Bezier handle up some by holding down my Control key and coming in here just like so. Now, I'm obviously drawing this path beyond this path right here. We can always fix that using one of our pathfinders here in just a moment, but let's go ahead and create the shape of the tongue first. I want to come in here, hold down my Alt key, bend that Bezier handle here. I'm going to create the nice arc for the top of the tongue. And this may be a little more apparent if I go ahead and change the color of the fill right now. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's come over here and switch the fill color to this darker red right there. And let's go ahead and, again, pull that Bezier handle out just a little bit here. And I'm going to pull in another one right about here. Now I'm going to tweak these around just a little bit to where I get this nice curved tongue that I'm looking for. I'll tell you what, that's looking pretty good for me. So I tell you what now. Let's go ahead and jump into outline mode for this next portion, because I need to be able to see where this path is right here before I bend this Bezier handle. So I'm going to bend this Bezier handle just like so. And let's go ahead and close this path by dropping in another anchor point right over here. Now we can complete this, or modify this path here just to sort of fit where we want it to be by, let's go ahead and switch to our Convert Anchor Point tool. We're going to do that by hitting Shift-C on our keyboard. This is going to allow us to modify or redraw the Bezier handles for an anchor point. And I want to do that for this one right here. So I'm going to pull those out again. I'm going to drop that right about there where it was. Then I'm going to bend this one down and around. And I want this to be nice and thick up there near that anchor point, but I want it to get a little thinner right here in the center. So we need to actually adjust this anchor point here. Let's go ahead and switch to our direct selection tool. We can click on that and just drag that a little bit over, sort of like that. And then we can tweak these in some. Now obviously there's going to be a lot of tweaking here for a project like this, and it's probably not going to serve you too well to see all the little tweaks I'm making to these Bezier handles, but you know, this is stuff that I can tweak during the lessons. Basically what we're looking for is creating this shape here, and I've just about got it. Let me jump out of outline mode here. Alright, so you can see how we've created sort of the top shape that I was looking for. Now we need a bottom shape. Now typically I would come in and create that bottom shape just like I created this shape here. I would come in and begin that shape and just draw that in with my pen tool, but we had a problem here with this shape. Now let me shift select this shape and this red shape next to it, or we can even look at it in outline mode. We've got a couple overlapping paths here. You know, they're the same color, and depending on what you want to do, you know, you could leave that the way it is. If you want this artwork to be perfectly clean, you would probably trim that little sliver right there off. Now that's probably a little bit narrow for our path, or excuse me, our shape builder tool to take care of, but maybe we could do something with one of our pathfinders. So tell you what, let's go ahead and select the main shape. Let's select this shape right here, and I tell you what, let's divide those. We're going to hit the divide pathfinder right here, just like so. And I tell you what, we could switch out of outline mode. Let's see if we can maybe see this. This is going to be kind of tough to see. Yeah, let's jump back into outline mode. Zoom in really nice and close here. I'm going to come in and select this path segment right here, and if that worked properly, we should be able to delete that without modifying any of our other shapes. So let me go ahead and select that and delete just that path segment. Jumping back into our normal preview mode, and you can see what we've done is we've opened that shape up. Not exactly the result we were looking for. Probably had something to do with how narrow that little bitty space was there. So if I can jump back into outline mode, and let's just go ahead and select this shape right here. We're going to add back onto that. We're going to continue that path over here a little further out. See if we can't get that divide function to work properly. We'll shift select both of those and divide that again. And you can see there, now that's worked properly. We can come in now, select just this shape right here. Now keep in mind that's a group now, so we need to ungroup that. And what we've got here is a shape there, a shape there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, let's go ahead and undo that here. Let's go ahead and take these two shapes right here and see if we can't use our shape builder tool to merge those together. So I'm going to go ahead and Shift M to switch to that, and we'll just draw a path between those two, connecting those. I don't know if we can grab this little sliver right here and this sliver and use our shape builder tool. We'll give it a shot. It looks like maybe we can. We'll just connect those two just like so. And now what we've done here is we have solved that little problem where we've got this shape overlapping that shape just by a little bit. Now we're really making some headway on this logo at this point. We'll switch into preview mode here, and I tell you what, we have, looks like we've hidden our orange shape. Let me send that big red shape to the back here, see if we can't find our orange shape. Or actually it looks like we've just changed it colors. Let me come over here now and change that back. We'll go ahead and use our eyedropper tool to sample that orange right there. And there's our orange shape back. So in between lessons, I'll go ahead and draw one more shape here below our tongue. In the next lesson, we're going to go ahead and pick up and continue off where we're leaving off here and begin adding some shadows to highlight certain features in our logo.